back. I'm just getting some things set up behind the scenes. I'll wait for everyone to enter. The super chats will be closing shortly, as well as we are going to introduce an update to the energy. It has been a bit, and especially last month, I wasn't able to really come live all that much. And we are going to talk about that too, because we have had quite an energetic shift. We're still in the mix of it in the month of April, as we are transitioning through. And at the moment, we do currently have the moon in Cancer at 28 degrees. So, yeah, things are really intensifying, especially where it does link to Mars in Cancer. Mars in Cancer at the moment is at 25 degrees. And it will be transitioning. It's going to be ingressing back into the house of Leo. That's of the 18th. So, yeah, things around your family, your home. I'll get me, so yes, we are on screen now. Things around your family, your home, your emotions, being pulled in multiple directions, especially moving into this lunation, which is going to be a full moon in Libra. I did say this eclipse, I saw this little boy who was at the shops the other day, and he was saying to his father, he goes, Daddy, when is it going to get cooler? And of course, the hemisphere we're in at the moment, it is the warmer hemisphere. We're supposed to be going into moving into winter, but it's, just the pre-introduction to gearing up, ready to go into that. Autumn, okay? I was trying to find it. That's another thing. Neptune at the moment, having shifted into Aries, do not be surprised if you are finding it very hard intellectually to pull those words. It might be, remembering a street, or remembering something that you know very well of, but because we are overloaded energetically within our intuitive energy, we're going to find it very hard to pull those words, to pull those thoughts, to be able to see things very clearly. We're also going to have times where we do feel intellectually very burnt out. Our nervous system is very important at the moment to, keep yourself hydrated. You could get frustrated where you want to put some boundaries down and you want to move towards your dreams, and you can feel very disillusioned on, is that even a possibility? We're going into this paradigm at the moment, Neptune and Pisces was very dreamlike, and in the retrogrades, we tend to have these kind of revelations. And you definitely do at the end of a Neptune cycle, you can get some blessings, but you'd need to in your birth chart know the degree point. And so that work that you actually do, not home, Marie, it's not for nothing. Everything is for something. It's transitioning us at the moment. Also having that, we just had the eclipse in Aries. I did say to a lot of you, if you possibly can, hold your cool, drink your fluid, wait, don't make any rash decisions. What does Aries want to do? It wants to be individual. It wants to get in there. It leaps before it thinks. It can be like the full card and tarot. We needed to come full circle into having the full moon in Libra, and then having Mercury and Venus moving direct, because they were in that zodiac sign. And they are doing similar to what Neptune was doing. I'll take a look, Tracy. Similar to, it's like we're dealing with past and we're trying to bring the future in. And it's very hard at the moment juggling those things. We have been really in the thick of it since September, October last year, where we had the eclipses, we had the introduction to this lunation, which is the nodal cycle, so to speak. And then we had retrogrades, we had Pluto exit Capricorn, and we were like, yes, Pluto's leaving Capricorn. Now we're in the, Pluto and Aquarius, and we're like, okay, well, there's these other things popping off. Now, how did I directly describe this to a couple of people in my personal life? This is a big year because we do have planets. We've got the larger planet bodies that do tend to stay in a sign for a lot longer than, say, Venus or Mars. Only time we tend to get this, and this is why we do feel quite irritated, is during a retrograde. So we'll get retrogrades of Mars. They can feel very fatiguing. It's almost like, oh my God, Groundhog Day. We're going over the same crap again. And so Mars really linking to both Cancer at the moment and then moving into Leo. These have been some heavy-hitting subjects we've been dealing with. In the mix of retrogrades, in the mix of transitions, trying to start your new beginnings with that Pluto in Aquarius and the North Node in Pisces, and it just feels like it's doomed to fail. Now, it's not doomed to fail. It's really, I would guarantee if you directly look at your life right now, you could probably say, gee, I've taken a lot of crap, but it's equipped you to a degree in knowing, what your values are, how much you can actually take, how you fine-tune your life and how you re-navigate these circumstances. And I have been chatting with members quite a bit. So yes, we do have a membership. It has been transitioned. So those of you that did have the YouTube membership, go and have a look at your email. We do have a link there that you can actually, as the first round offer, you can actually join that. We do chart readings. I chime in and we talk about the aspects where it's been impacting you. We have different rooms. We've got a twin flame room. We've got an astrology room. And yes, it's the impacts of this transit have been affecting me too. So really trying to navigate that for me has been very unique. But again, we'll probably see in all of our lives the best with months moving forward, because we physically will be out of the energy of Mars sitting in 2 signs. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, I'll quickly update the list before I do any more blah, blah. And I will take a look and I'll add. So forgive me for 2.5. I mean, if you want to look at a screen, you could look at the new banner that we have. This is the new look we're moving forward with. I've updated the website. There you are, Tracy, right there. 1 minute. Let me see. How did I miss that? I told you, Neptune. Neptune and Aries. Getting me intellectually spent. So, say more. So you are after your hair. That's why it's important to be at the lives. So you can correct me when I mess up. Okay, back again. We're on there. Okay. So what else do I need to update you guys on? Do not be surprised at the moment with the moon being in Cancer. You can be emotional. Again, remember, Mars is there. As we do get to the more critical degrees, if we do look back, oh gosh, several months ago when it first ingressed and it moved into its retrogrades, we had a lot of subjects coming up to do with women's rights, birth situations, disputes. There was a lot to do with domestic violence and things to that degree. And so there were changes, but there were highlighted areas, and there was really those things coming to the surface. Now, I do believe as it does get to the more critical degree, we should be more careful about our safety, our well-being, our physical environments, maybe losing our cool at our family members. There could be some things coming up in the media, to do with youth, to do with parenting, to do with homes and values, and that could be interest rates and things to that degree, because Mars also can link to wealth to a degree. As for emotions, now, the one thing I can say, and I've been really saying this to a lot of the members, do the very best you can with the circumstances that are playing out. When we particularly have squares or difficulties, like I said, because we've gone from Neptune in Pisces over to Neptune in Aries, we are still swinging this pendulum of dealing with the old stuff, simultaneously trying to balance ourselves out and create a new situation in our world. This could be in your career, it may be in your love life, it might be with your wealth and finances, with your family and children, even with your health. That is a big one as well. A lot of individuals, especially during the eclipse in Virgo, we may have been having some wellness situations going on, and it being sort of like the introduction to the new lunar year, we were going through that with eclipses, going through that with wellness. How do we do everything? We also could have been super critical with ourselves. It might have been, especially looking back to what we wanted to do before, and maybe we haven't quite achieved that yet. And we're looking to redirect that energy and say, okay, what is that? What steps do I need to directly take? Now, some of us, due to emotions, due to frustration, we might have pulled the pin in certain areas in our life. You also can find this with our thoughts, with our actions, with our words, because Mercury is retrograde. We also have Venus retrograde, and I'll get the direct dates that they're going direct for some context, and realize when they do go station, not the best time to do anything. Just wait. When it does go shadow direct, probably even before that, I tend to see in a Mercury and a Venus retrogrades, more dramas tend to come in its ingress in prior. You kind of get the middle ground. You're like, we're in the middle of the yuck. We're really unwrapping some things. And then as it goes station, we may start making those changes if we haven't already, but it's a lot to do with old things. So it's a little bit like cramming your homework. Because you realize all of a sudden, oh gosh, I didn't finish this, I didn't do that. And so we were initially trying to start new things, and then we were having to look backwards to redo some old things that weren't completed correctly, to review, to revisit, to rewrite. And so that can be frustrating when you're trying to have a new chapter, be it it's in your romantic sector, your body, your health. Pluto also uncovers things, so don't be surprised if from the beginning of the year things were uncovered, things were unearthed, things that were hidden from us also, especially with Neptune and Pisces ingressing into Aries. A lot of exposures, so to speak, that we directly can have. Let's get the directs first. We will tell you when that's going to happen. So we have Venus on the 13th, which I did mention this to the members, is that we have the full moon. We have the full moon in Libra on the 13th. It's at 23 degrees. This does link, this can feel like an eclipse. It does link to the previous nodal cycle, and it is a full moon. So look to your charts. You can look at the degree point. You could look at Libra. Look to the themes of Libra, which can be rules, laws, marriages, contracts, partnerships, justice, injustice. There is a wrap up and a new beginning in this area. Okay, for any ending, there is a new beginning. So, if you do have a sudden kind of, it could be an energetic thing. It might be something at a frequency level you directly have. And you're like, oh my gosh, I just don't relate to that anymore. All the work you did to enhance the Aries North node, inadvertently it changed the South node. So the dynamic between both of those has changed both collectively and personally. We'll have Mercury and we will have the full moon. So again, I would give it a couple of days, similar to an eclipse. Some of these things can play out for that. You're probably already in the signature of it now, I'll be perfectly honest. But, check the lunations, how they flow, because it is going to directly impact how you directly are responding to things. Tomorrow, we have the energy Mercury direct. That's interesting. It says the 7th. So what's going direct that day? So we have the 13th. So it's Venus will move direct. I would say, especially around your marriages, contracts, partnerships, could be, I hear a lot of astrologers at the moment talking in layman's terms of just a connection. And it's not to say every single one does, but a lot of times when I'm landing on a video, especially if I'm looking at my zodiac sign, I love to hear other people's perspectives to gain, to actually have an open mind and see how those things playing out. But it doesn't just have to be to do with love. It can be your body. It can be your wellness. It can be your finances. It could be your value system. It may be the physical connection. It could be a job and a contract and some paperwork that you've been waiting on. It could be something happening in your relationship sector with people around you, in government, for instance, because again, it is Libra. So, and trying to find balance. So I think that's the key here. We are all trying to find balance, and we're going to have this understanding, and it could be this push come to shove where we're thinking, gosh, have I had enough boundaries? Are people pushing me the wrong way? Are they needing on me? And like, I can literally relate. I've been working 2 jobs. I've been helping my family. My daughter had health things going on, and trying to juggle all of those things, as well as being responsible for the day-to-day things of running businesses. It has been challenging. So if you have felt down on yourself, or gosh, when is this going to ease up? It is going to ease up. It's just going to be different. But it could be that you decide to actually make some changes due to those circumstances of how are they going to fit into your routine. I remember a person saying to me years ago, Yildiz balance, there is no such thing. And I actually disagree with that. I believe we all have a unique threshold, and we can be pushed beyond it. And through that experience, it can actually build resilience and show us a new threshold of, kind of balance. We all have personal things that we believe creates balance. It might be structure. It might be taking an hour out to have a nap. It may be having a cup of tea, and that gets you back into balance, or tweaking your routine. Whatever that is, you're going to find it. So Venus goes direct. I would probably say, especially in the zone of wealth, I would say we can see some movement happening, but again, especially to do with our values, our wealth, we still will have Mercury retrograde. When does Mercury go direct? Let's take a look. Mercury. Okay, so the 7th, which is tomorrow, it goes direct, station direct. So by this time, both Mercury and then the moon comes along on the 13th, Venus goes direct. So we have a 7 to 14 day window where these things are moving back. And I did say by mid-month, it's like all systems go. We're going to feel things are getting very busy. Venus will re-enter Aries on the 30th, but we'll come back to this later and we will discuss it. So it's like that full circle we've been doing in those areas relating to the shadow sign of Libra, having the Libra moon, Mercury going direct. It re-enters Aries on the 16th. I believe, linking to the previous North Node, this month we can have some changes happening relating to those areas. And again, I do tend to feel that our vibration or wellness zone, because Chiron is linked to that, is probably going to be better once we have those 2 positions moving forward. So if you have felt run down, if you have felt tired, if you don't know what to focus on, which way is up, which way is down, those frustrations have been really amplified. So, you're probably really in the news, social media, Facebook, Instagram, you're probably seeing these videos of people being really pissy. Don't be surprised by that. Look at it that they're in the simulation and experiencing it none the wiser to themselves. Having some context of the reasons why we can feel this way can actually aid us in how to directly respond, knowing our limit, knowing when to actually go, okay, it's probably better I don't interact with the circumstance right now, maybe, cutting communication. And, some could look at that as passive aggressive. Some may look at that as being, I need to diffuse the situation before it escalates. So trying to actually navigate that in the best fashion possible is going to do you a favour, both intellectually, physically, and psychologically, over getting into disputes and arguments. If you do find at the moment, looking at maybe the news or looking at, dynamics and hearing other people's perspectives, I would say Neptune does like to actually deceive us to a degree. We can think that we know something, and I think at the moment, because we do have Mercury and Venus there, we may think we're seeing things correctly, but they could shift very rapidly. So I would say use this time to be open-minded. Open-minded, not too fixed that we completely have all the information at hand. Even if in the 3D, from our personal experiences, we could be looking at something going, heck, why are they doing that? I would say just really, really pause and observe it like an experiment. And just this month, just observe it like an experiment. step back. Yes, of course, trust your intuition and re-enter into that by the time we exit this month and go, what are my newfound opinions about these circumstances? Because I do think the old with the Pisces moving into Aries, we are going to see some huge changes, but we may not be seeing things as clear as we think we might be. So I would say pause. Anyone had some experiences that they've had between the eclipses, between the here and now? Certain zodiac signs definitely, I would say, going through rapid changes. That will be Aries, Libra, Cancer, Capricorn, in different ways. Who else? Pisces and Virgo. If I always know when the certain types of like the zodiac signs I'm going to get for bookings. I'm pre-waiting for it. It's like it's a given. Gemini and Sagittarius, you guys can be feeling it too, because directly at this point in time, you look at the context of Mercury, right? And so you guys are shadow signs to each other. You guys can be experiencing that too. You don't, and all of us collectively are going to have things to do with family. So true. After last eclipse, Libra 5th house here. And as soon as Pisces got out of Neptune, I was like, boom, everything moved forward. Yeah, it's interesting because I did hear an astrologer the other day actually talk about the fact that Neptune does bring blessings. And I believe she's an Australian astrologer. I'll have to get her name. And I totally do agree. And I've never really looked at Neptune as a negative thing. I think we do have to have, how could I best describe it? It can be your dreams. It can be your intuition. And I think intuition is linked to it as well. But what I've found is when it goes retrograde, and it depends on what it aspects in your birth chart. So if you actually had that physically in your birth chart retrograde, you're kind of used to that. So it can be more when things, kind of change. I've got Jupiter and Gemini, so I tend to find my busyness. Always look at Mercury retrograde. I'm flat out. I'm hitting the ground running. With certain placements in my chart. And I do find that directly amusing. It's almost like a PDF to me. It's like, Yildiz, you're going to be in the thick of it. You're going to be extremely busy. You're going to have a lot coming at you. You're going to achieve a lot, but you're probably going to burn out at the end of it because there's just so much happening. But Neptune, it doesn't set you up for disaster. It sets you up for success. You can feel bitter because you feel gospelly correct that this is correct and this is the way you're going and this is what you're doing. And then in its retrograde, it's a little bit like a Mercury retrograde. You're like, oh, wow, that's not working. And so you make some adjustments, right? We all individually with Aries, with Neptune moving into Aries, I think we're going to have a lot of entrepreneurs. I feel there is a potential of narcissism coming through, especially at the moment with Mars and Aries, Mercury and Venus and belief systems and frustrations. We could be a little bit self-centered at the moment. And we do need to remember healthy boundaries, understanding and empathizing, especially, for those on twin flame paths, for example, or awakenings. What we tend to find in the initial stages, we all could be at there could be a group and they're at a frequency, and then they go up a level and they go up another level. And so reviewing how you used to be, watching other people go through something you already went through, which is what we all go through, regardless of the TF journey. Initially, it might frustrate you because you're like, oh, I want to bubble wrap you. I want to help you out. I don't want you to go through that. I want to help you miss a step. But sometimes it's through those direct experiences we have to step back. We need to let those people go through those circumstances so they learn and they evolve and they change, and it will naturally happen. Pisces had big changes that work for the better. My ex settled in with his manipulator. I wouldn't actually look at any relationship at the moment as cemented. Because we do have a transition between Venus being in Pisces, moving into Aries, Venus currently in its retrograde, Mercury currently in its retrograde, just had the eclipse in Aries. And in that nodal axis, where your direct relationship sector is going to be very different. And it's going to change you. It definitely is going to change you. It can affect you psychologically over the next 18 months if you allow it to, in bad ways, or it can be quite self-focused where you actually have these huge revelations of, how you can navigate things, how you can transform, and where you are going to be prioritizing self, but you will get blessings from the South Node. Hi, Stefan, how are you? So it's not that something negative comes out of it. I did mention this to the members. 9 times out of 10, like two people that actually share similar kind of aspects, sun, moon, kind of aspects in their birth chart, you tend to go through similar experiences, but they're just kind of swapped. So 9 times out of 10, very commonly, you will actually end up reconciling with those individuals because you do actually learn similar karmic lessons depending on the aspects in your chart. And especially I've seen in twin flame charts when I've actually viewed them, you will actually have some scenarios that play out. You have some prejudice to do with it. They go through some changes. And then on the other side of it, you come full circle. I'm good, turning 55 yesterday. Happy birthday. And how did it feel? Those birthdays, it's like that lunar return. It's like, oh yeah, with Mars and Cancer. I bet that was the spicy one, Stefan. I feel so much better in Neptune and Aries. I'm waiting. Yes, so it's not, I would say when it comes to anything Venus, especially in connections, your partnerships, Great. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. And Venus retrograde, look, guys, we're not going to be really able to look after ourselves as well as we'd like to. Your wellness isn't going to be there as much. You could feel really run down. We had Mars retrograde. Then Mars went direct. It was like, we've got some energy. And then we had Venus and Mercury go retrograde, linking to Aries, which then depleted our energy yet again. So if you guys have been proceeding forward, if you've been cleaning your houses and decluttering and maybe dipping into, looking at your diet and your nutrition and going, oh, I've really kind of let that go, or maybe I should be making some changes. It could have been quitting habits as well. We will have these wellness changes, new routines, depending on where Jupiter is in your birth chart, that can affect it as well, okay? For better or worse. It ends up being okay in the end. So, have we been handling the transits? How many meltdowns have we all had? Have we had meltdowns? Have we had issues with family, issues with kids, issues with home? Are we trying to declutter? Are we feeling like we'd like to go back to the womb and just not have to do this part? Are we wanting to, freeze ourselves and wake me up when it's all over? Drinking vegan collagen, not that I feel that exists, so I am looking for proper collagen. I'm getting older, man. So does anyone have any questions to do with it? Are there any worries to do with the transits you're having? Are you concerned about things? Yeah, the eclipse hit me so hard. Yeah, you will be, Cosmic Jenny, especially with, it depends if you've got a North Node in Virgo or Pisces, or if you have, your zodiac sign is that link. Your body, your aura, your energy is going to, over the next 18 months, go through some transitions. A big portal, I would say, which I have mentioned to the members, is around the next eclipses, obviously, but also as we do have Uranus ingress into Gemini, which I believe is the 7th of July. I'll go to July. We're also going to have Saturn ingress into Aries. Not looking forward to that one. Okay, so Neptune moves retrograde the 4th of July. That'll be interesting. Yes, here we go. Uranus enters Gemini on the 7th of July. Saturn moves retrograde. That's going to be a dynamic month. The other, I would say, for the eclipses will go to the moon at the moment. Like I said, we have the moon in Cancer. Try to not lose your cool. You might want to nurture. You might want to go into hermit mode. You may want to, you might be overthinking certain things to do with structure, stability, parents, parenthood, inner child. Just cleaning. You could just want to go into hermit mode. I feel this. Yeah, we will be. But again, I will tell you this year is going to feel, we're going to have two energies. We could be needing to rest, psychologically overwhelmed, or in that Mars factor of, wow, we're getting things done. Once we do wrap up the nodes in Pisces, because we are going to have positions in an Aries zone, we're going to be very driven. We're going to be very entrepreneurial, needing to look outside the box. Hi, Angela. But it can feel like we're go gadget bunny legs. Like, honestly, we're going to feel like we're going. So there is going to need to be this moderation where we find time where we can just take some time out and rest and, block the calendar out, not do anything, or leave the dishes for later, just to take a moment. Otherwise, you may actually get into feeling burnt out. So, the next eclipse is going to, so we get to July. Then September the 7th is going to be the total lunar eclipse in Pisces. I'll try and get that recorded beforehand so I can actually release them, and I'll give them to the members as well. And then we have on September the 21st, we have the partial solar eclipse in Virgo. And that's going to be at 28 degrees, which is very close to the critical degree. Then as we move into 2026, the next one is going to be by February. Okay, and that is the introduction to a different one altogether. So I'm not going to talk about that yet because that's kind of like a wall energy, but we're going to start looking at the up and coming kind of cycles as we speak. Anything you guys want to broach on before I get into the super chats? Super chats will be closing shortly, so we have the list. I'll put it back up on the screen. Well, I'm hoping that gives you some context. So, don't feel you're crazy. You are going to have more energy coming up. Try to be observant. I would say especially, be security conscious at the moment. Be aware of your emotions. Be observant. Transits directly can give us some context of, what to look out for and how to best navigate it. Anything I need to warn you guys on? Relationships, contracts, and partnerships. We could be looking at things at the moment that it's like what's safe, what's right, what's wrong, what would fit, what would work, what would last forever. Uranus moving out of Taurus is going to be a big one in my belief. We're going to have the Sun entering Taurus April the 19th. Pay attention to that, okay? You might be making, at the moment, the Sun's in Aries. Could we have some conflict? Yes, we can this month, but you'll probably, could it be in your own life? Yes, it could be in different ways, but it is going to be bold and changeable. We are going to have some changes that in the long run we are going to be adjusting to. But I'd say, especially if there's something directly you personally really have been focused on, but you haven't yet been able to get to or do or achieve, I think as we do have both Venus and Mercury retrograde, that kind of event is going to help you understand what to do next. So I think at the moment, all of us maybe might have reacted in an emotional way and made a decision. And if that was you, it's not bad. You still may have a redirection of that frequency later. But what I do feel for some of us is those decisions are actually being formed between now and I would say the 20th. thought of like rolling over. And this could be a long-term goal. You know, some of us like, oh, I want to do this, but I don't want to do that, but I have to do that right now to go do this. It could be over the next 18 months. You are taking the pebble steps and you are starting that process. You've learned a very karmic lesson, probably relating to Uranus and Taurus, that is causing a lot of instability. And you're going, okay, for me to set up that new chapter in my life, this is what I directly am doing. For some of us, we may actually jump in the deep end and have to do that off the bat. Others of us, it could be this transitional thing that we're actually doing. I can't even imagine a relationship. That's probably because the North Node at the moment is in Pisces. And again, zodiac sign, looking at it, going through those transitions. But a lot of times, until we have that relationship with ourselves, we do end up coming full circle. And a relationship, it depends on the context of what we believe a relationship is. You know, some of us, it might be that fits us in this lifetime. It could be because you've been very independent and you've had kids, they've moved off, you know, you've had careers and all the rest of it, and you want that companionship. So like I said, what one calls balance and another calls balance can be totally opposite things. You're going to actually find that over the next 18 months. And more than likely, you will find yourself in a connection in a new way, finding new hobbies and passions, finding the new sense of self. The difficulty with the transit in Pisces is that we isolate ourselves, and it's going to force you to actually be out there and about, not to be isolated and detached and, you know, not connected, but empathetic understanding of other people's energies and other people's processes, but also of getting out there and being connected. Okay, we're going to get into the super chats. We have Cosmic Journey first. I hope that gives you some context. And we'll see what is coming up for Cosmic Journey. Thanks, Storm. Oh, that come out straight away. It's like a bubble. It's like a bubble. How do I explain it? Cosmic Journey, it's weird. It's like, you know, when you've had so much crap going on, it's almost like you're trying to hold it together. You know, there's this. Yeah, it could be that you're keeping things to yourself. You've probably got a lot to say. You're feeling maybe overwhelmed and fatigued. You know, you've actually got the Ten of Swords in reverse. So I don't know what I'm getting. It may not be that it was a physical situation, but it could be. And on the other side of it, generally it is a physical situation, you know, be it it's vibration. You've gone through the two eclipses, you've come through the other side, and you've kind of like, and I don't think we're completely on the other side yet. You know, 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks either side, we still have things popping off. And lasting 18 months. Setting a new cycle for 18 years. That's what we're looking at. This is the time we're moving into. What I feel you, maybe through a spiritual point of view, you went through was some revelation, some emotional feelings, reviewing. Am I going forward? Am I going back? I'm entertaining myself over. I feel you coming full circle. There is what things that you want to say. But at the moment, you could be holding in and trying to get your balance before you articulate that. But I do think a conversation is pending. I do feel it's like you want to be able to express it, articulate, take steps and move forward. But you also, you don't want it to come through. You want the give and take to be there, but you don't want it to be from a manipulative point of view. Okay? So you want this give and take. You're very cautious. There's almost like a Aries paradigm coming through where you are fiercely independent, even though you prefer not to be. Yeah, in the heart space. And I'd say this relates to love. There is some passion, but there could be some anger at the moment. It's, you know, and I never really pick from you a vibration of anger. But sometimes it could be because you do have you do have the subconscious way to be able to articulate and understand your own personal emotions. So it's not that human beings don't have anger. We actually do. Sometimes we just have that self-awareness that we can interpret and understand the vibration of the feeling without taking it out on another person. So I feel you have that emotional intelligence where you're looking at it and saying, hey, I do actually have an emotional right to have this feeling to do with the circumstance, but at the same time, I also, maybe we do need to actually have a conversation about this to get to the root cause, or what do we do from here? So there is this passion, there is this chemistry, everything fits, right? Everything in the connection fits. There could have been something that transpired that's too many. There could have been something that transpired that maybe made you feel as though you gave your power away. It could have been an intimate. That's the thing I'm connecting to. I don't know why they're showing me that. Or it might just be your perspective on it, is that this person, the connection that you have with this person is deeply, deeply powerful. So you're reflecting. See, I told you, you're so intellectualizing this situation. There's South Node and Virgo. Now, that can be a good thing, but it also could be a bad thing. So you have in the heart space, which is Chiron. The Virgo energy is our higher heart chakra. It's also in the hands. Only time will tell. I said to you, relating to this connection, and I think this is in a few areas in your life, with connections with people, with connection with a romantic interest, with your career, with a contract. I feel at the moment you might have had some frustration, some insecurities, some dynamics, some feeling of overwhelm. You might have needed to rest. But where you're coming to is you are directly reflecting upon it. And I think it's so strange. If a lot of you all of a sudden were like, I don't want to deal with anything at the moment, I just need some space. That was one thing psychically I actually got as a download, is that it's okay to retract back into hermit mode temporarily if you do need to reflect upon it. That way, no conflict, it's like, you're having to sum it up first before you react to it. And I think this is what you're doing from an emotional intelligence point of view. But also don't feel that you need to hide and resolve everything on your own, because in a connection, it is a two-sided transaction. And if you do need to articulate something, you shouldn't be feeling as though you can't be the good, the bad, and the ugly with any person, because in theory, that is a true connection, is being it's almost like the raw wood being stripped back to be your authentic self, and to actually test if that foundation is actually strong enough to endure that. But true connections really can. A true connection, even if it does retreat back, it's to process, especially if the person comes back again, it means things are getting back into an equilibrium. They've had to unpack those things, but it doesn't mean you're actually being abandoned. We sometimes, when we don't honour our feelings, is us actually abandoning ourselves. But I think you're doing this from an emotionally intelligent point of view in order to kind of, move forward. You may actually, there is some old feelings coming up. I don't know why. Again, I'm going to pull a clarifier over here. I feel like there's some communication about a person that this person is, I knew it, maybe dealing with. And I feel like this could actually be a conversation. It's like some information that is told to you about what this person's currently dealing with within family. But you're not sure if you say, and this is where I said to everyone, don't be surprised if we're not saying the truth of the situation. I'd say wait till the end of the month to sum everything up. It can be, it's not to say don't do anything and don't act and, put your lives on hold. But for you, Cosmic Journey, as well as the collective, it's like we're trying to say, are we seeing this correctly? Is there something missing? And I don't know why I'm getting this gut instinct, but you're trying to check whether it's a gut instinct or it's a trigger. I do think there's something to do with karmic individual here that's going to come up to highlight. There is something to do with their family, maybe a child. There's some major subject here. I think it's you're kind of minding your own business, doing your own thing. But there's something over here that feels quite heavy, and it can be some. I don't think it's gossip. I think it's actually a conversation. I think it's information that's been given to you, and you're quite baffled by it. But that's what I see at this point in time coming through for you, love. I do think you're going to recover. I do think in conversation, you have a very good bond with this person. You're able to talk about everything. You may just need to lower your filter to a point that you understand that that's what you have, because you can actually be completely transparent with this person. They're quite open for that. Okay, we have Tracy. Hi Tracy, how are you, love? I'm going to take a quick sip. My daughter got cross at me today. Most welcome. She's like, you always work. I was like, yeah, right. Decent. You got 3 cards. What's with the 3? 2's company, 3's a crowd. Okay, that's a separate story. There's something of a message, and I'll probably come back to that. The 3 fell out. I think the best way to articulate how the last few months have been for me is like I've been in the war trenches and I've been eating mud and I've had to floss regularly. I've looked, just as I think I'm getting my energy back, something pops up over here or there, and it's like, okay, alrighty then, let's keep going. And if you don't laugh, you'll cry. You can cry, but you're gonna laugh because it's almost impossible. It's impossible, but it's not. It's a simulation. It's something we're all going to go through, some harder than others. But after, you may find it very, very amusing and just go, wow, what? I do not like Mars retrogrades. I have Scorpio on my chart. I'm like, they're an inconvenience. I'm a little bit of ADHD. I just like to get in there and get shit done. And when I can't, it is deeply, what would the word be? Character shaking. Character transforming. To admit you're a speckle of a star in the sky with billions of other stars that you have absolutely no control. And you're like, darn it, I want to have control. And it's like, you don't. You fucking don't. Okay, so over here, you're like, what am I fighting for? What am I doing? You're like, oh. What are we fighting about? You could be like, if you have come to a space, I went through this the other day, I was like, what's the point? Just anything. What's the point? It's okay to have those moments. You will snap out of it, but you could have had one of those moments somewhere this week during this transition where you were like, what is the bleeping point of anything? Okay, that's when you know you're going to put yourself in the naughty corner and go to bed, because it means you're exhausted. So nothing matters. Food don't taste that good. Bryan Adams and Sporty Spice. You will snap out of it, okay? I don't know why I'm hearing vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. This could also be a very vengeful time, especially if we're feeling that something hasn't gone our way and people keep getting pulling the wool over our eyes. You're like, do I stay or do I go in the context of everything? Because your 2 other cards is the 7 of Wands and the 4 of Wands in reverse. Okay. So, just take a deep breath in, blow the negativity out. Somebody loaned it to you. It's actually not your vibration. And we can, especially empaths, you can pick up on the collective energy. When the shaman comes in and it's knocking you down, you can have exhaustion. And, it's a little bit like going to the supermarket hungry. You're going to spend more. If you're spent, you got less to spend emotionally, physically, psychologically. So we're not going to feel optimistic. And that's where you just have to be the parent to yourself and say, okay, I've got to take myself off to bed. I need to go to sleep. I need to just rest for a bit, not think about problems, not think about solutions, just be in the here and now. And then once you do go into recovery, you can look at something more realistically, okay, optimistically, objectively. That was the word I was looking for. So if you had jumped in, you've literally got, and I've been talking about this for weeks, the bloody Fool card, okay? The Fool card in tarot. I've been mentioning this to do with the Aries transits. You may want to jump in the deep end and it could cause two experiences. Look, you could be looking at relationships and saying to yourself, what's the bloody point? It's interesting that a lot of my bookings lately have been Aries and Libra, Virgo and Pisces, and the list goes on. But mainly, those that had that in their chart, if you had felt, and what I usually do see is in your relationship sector, regardless what words are stated, what situations are going on, you directly will have a transition happening in your love life. In the long run, it is for the better. Now, generally, if you were an Aries and there were dynamics coming up maybe in your friendships, in your love life, in your contracts, in your wealth, in your body, and you were very focused, but it just wasn't balancing, and you were feeling almost imbalanced because of those areas not being balanced in your love life and all those areas I mentioned. Now with this full moon coming up, there's something that's going to change in you, and inadvertently it will attract these things in a healthier way back to you. But there is some lesson usually that we emotionally have to go through. You also could have a lot of shit going on in your family. The Fool card is going to signature a new beginning. And yes, as we all know, at the 0 point, there is equal opportunity for positivity as negativity. But it's asking you to have the courage to understand you are going to have a new beginning. Now, it doesn't have to be that you are going to create that new beginning. In some ways, it's already happened. You are changing. So I'd say it's going to happen to you, for you, but what's the word? You don't have to fix the world. You have to be you. That's what I'd say. Yeah, that's what I'd say. Don't have to change the world. You are allowed to be selfish and focus on self. You don't have to fix things. They're just naturally. It's like the laws of attraction. What is meant for you will always come towards you. You won't need to chase it. You won't need to influence it. You won't need to manipulate it. If the truth of that is there and you are in the happiest vibration inside your life and you are who you are, love comes to you like a moth to the flame. So I feel if you just get into that ease and you flow with these, it's like you're a snake shedding skin. Everything you desire that's meant for you is going to come towards you. You may be thinking it's over, it's not going to be. No, that story you used to live is over. That is what you spiritually have been coming to terms with. Coming back into the here and now, you have to admit that it's scary to allow Mother Nature to take its course without you controlling it, which is the Fool card, because there's infinite ways to go. What if you don't, it's a little bit like sending the manifestation out to Gaia and you're like, no, I don't want fucking fries for that. That's where the intention comes through better when you're just going, I want to be open to love. I want to be open to abundance. I want to be open to peace. And just don't paint it. Disconnect and allow Mother Nature to bring it, in its beautiful form, in its natural form, it's an organic form. Because you are very independent. You can have a lot of the masculine frequency coming up in you, and it's very spent at the moment. It's like, oh, I've got to go into nurturing. So there could be triggers and feelings of, having to put tags on things that it's ending and it's over and it's not going to be. And really, what your cards are saying is that's not true. I hope that helps. You're good. You just don't see it yet. You're good. You do have. Well, I've had twice transits where they've hit my first and seventh house, and wow, have they been very educational for me. They've actually been quite emotional, especially while Pluto was transiting my fourth house. That sucked. What you do get is the blessings at the end of it, and a total transformation in that area. And it's usually you have come to this disillusioned state, you're very detached, you can understand other people's perspectives, you can look at it. That's what that was for. For a lot of areas that I coached, and I was doing a lot of coaching, I literally said that the North Node moving into the zodiac sign was almost like the universe was going, okay, the spotlight's on you, we're handing you the microphone, what do you want to do? And it's like, no, but I've got this and that. No. We're putting you in the naughty corner. What do you want? And so this was the big lesson, is to be very self-focused, even though you can actually, because it's the first house. It's like, who are you? What do you want to do? Can you balance without connections? Can you balance and can you be yourself regardless of your contracts, regardless of your friendships? Can you be accepting to yourself regardless of who those people are? And if you can, you have self-love, and even if they project to you, you know the reason why, because you have come full circle. It doesn't mean enabling people. It means honoring who the new version of you is. I hope that helps. It's a sucky transit, but I'm telling you, it is. So Pisces and Virgo, you guys are going to go through this. You could have revelations where you actually mucked up relationships. It was so bitter for me. I was like, I did that. That wasn't them. That was me. And then other times it was like where their part and things were. This does bring luck. It does. It does. How can you create balance? Marie, are you in the house, my love? I'm sorry. It's been a while. Yeah, I mean, I just had to be really realistic about what I was going to be able to achieve while we were having eclipses and all the bloody retrogrades and all the rest of it. I was like, look, I am really sorry, YouTube. I have been in the trenches. Hi, beautiful. Would like any messages about the connection and what I'm going on. Twin, no contact for the last 10 months. Thank you. Thanks, Dawn. Okay, wait, I've got to set the intentions in this because there was a lot. You have a very busy mind at the moment, girl. I was like, okay, what is going on that is causing that? Because as I started channeling it, there was a lot of chatter. Now, is it that you are thinking about a lot of things at the moment? Because it's very busy. Do you feel this urgentness? Okay, because everything is going to extremes. It could be something in your life where you're having to make a significant change and that's causing anxiety. And so it's almost like the pressure's on for you. And you're like, oh my God, what is cementing you in that you're feeling is going to take you away from this journey? Because it's almost like something has come up that you feel it's a little bit like going into a contract that's going to take you a million miles away. And it's like, that would mean it's over, because that's how it's coming through to me psychically. Why is this anxiousness here? What is this commitment that you're being dragged into in some shape or form? that you're feeling, is it a decision that you're about to make that's causing anxiety? You know, the South Node in Virgo, the one pattern we all collectively are going to have to break is psychoanalyzing, just dissecting everything. The other is going to be going into analysis paralysis and then getting to a point where we don't do anything at all. Family, it seems it will never happen. Family grows up. Family moves on. And Mars is in Cancer, so that triggers more than likely coming from Mars and Cancer. And again, you know, the Cancerian vibration, which at the moment it's in the lunation, is this fight. It is this feeling that this individual or that individual has power over a circumstance. You know, what signifies the relationship? So the tribal situation, do you feel emotionally this is on your side or their side? You know, usually we have a mirroring of those circumstances. And it also generally does come down to our prejudice and beliefs and values that we have and how we show up inside our tribe. So when we feel directly our relationship is going to be impacted by tribe, it generally is because of the way we've been raised in our belief systems and how we are responding to our direct side of it. And we're believing in the ego that they all do the same thing. So it triggers us because we're like, well, I haven't even broken that pattern. Why are they going to break that pattern? So where is that showing up for you? You may be able to view. You know, because things at the moment are going to extremes. It's like, gosh, you know, there's no fun, there's no rest for the wicked, there's always something going on. And that's funny because we have the Empress here, which is to do with family and it's in the past. My side, but it is the void at the same time. More than likely, both parties as well are experiencing it. But it's almost like you subconsciously feel quite stressed by it. You can understand and empathize and get the situation relating to it, but there's something in you that's changing due to this. I don't know why I'm getting this, Marie, but I really feel you're on a pivotal point of change. And I think that is really something that's going to dictate how this connection is going to go. Because I feel, although it's almost like you're having to make a decision without the PDF. Does that make sense? It's like you feel this, it's like being put in a vice and having to make a significant change, making a significant decision that has infinite ways it could go as for success or failure, but you know you have to be the full card in tarot. I have actually experienced something very similar to what you're going through. And I knew there was absolutely no guarantee with the choice I was going to make. And it was like, well, nothing ventured, nothing gained. It was like I had to actually throw caution to the wind and just understand that Mother Nature and you know, whatever was supposed to be was supposed to be. But unless I had actually been the full card in tarot, nothing would have ever eventuated. But it's almost like, in a way, I want you to ask yourself this pivotal question because I think this is quite relevant to what I'm saying psychically. Are you feeling as though you want to shortchange yourself and just settle for something to fill the void, and that gives anxiety? Are you also looking at life at the moment like you want to throw the towel in but change everything? This could be move location, move job, change things about and how you're operating inside your life to open this door as an opportunity. And the other can be feeling as though that is creating anxiety. Does that make sense? Because that's what I'm actually saying. You do have the outcome card as a connection. And I would say there is this feeling that this connection is here. Also, because Venus is retrograde, it's going to unhatch things. Yes, want change. Yes, years are passing by. Have you made contact? Or are you fearing rejection? Have you had any communication whatsoever? Have you attempted to make communication? Because when we want change, sometimes the best times for communication is during Mercury and Venus retrograde, because you feel very full of anxiety. Your mind is going at 100 miles an hour. Yes, want change for years are passing by. Exactly. That's where the pressure's coming from. It's like, okay, it's almost like psychologically you need to have some clarity. There is a little bit of anger, because you're like, God, why hasn't this person made some transition, some, effort, so to speak? Maybe it's in vain. No communication. It was quite final. Again, things change. It's not final for you, which means it's not final. So you can attempt to make communication and to see now where that person is at. And again, like the retrograde state, review. There you can find some solace in it and say, okay, so where are we in this step? What are we doing from here? Does that make sense? Because when we feel disempowered, regardless of what was said before, the reason we don't respond is because we're fearing rejection, but it's a new day, right? So it's like, okay, come to it again from a new angle, and be willing to be vulnerable and to see where things are at. It could be just a PM, a quick PM. Hi, how are you? How are you going? Do you have 5 to talk? And see where that goes. That's your call, though. You got to risk it for the biscuit. Yeah, otherwise it's like, this is going to intellectually run you in circles because you were creating the cake the same way. Does that make sense? Okay, any advice for Marie relating to this? They're saying you already have concocted things in your head about what the scenarios are. That even from the context of this connection, it's almost like there is a lot of fear around it. There's how do I explain it? Let's pull 3 cards. I'll be getting them. 3 cards for them. It's almost like you have summed up every outcome prior to the cards being pulled. That's what I'm saying. Because your belief is telling you a genre, why not to communicate, why not to react. But there's an anger also because you feel you want progression in your life. That's the 12th house moving to the 1st house. It's being stuck in stagnation, living in the dream but not experiencing the dream, moving over to Aries in the 1st house if I need to do something. Can I make that dream come true, or do I need to make a pivotal change? Do you get it? So a lot of us are going through that. Do I stay stuck? Do I dare to dream? Am I disillusional? So we're moving back and forward in the complexity of that. Like I said, okay, 3 cards for this individual relating to. All right. Grounding energy and 3 cards. All right. They're very tired. Okay, they've got big changes happening in their life. Yes, okay, so you're like, what I'm seeing in the card versus what you're thinking, like I was saying, there's some correlating energy. It's saying things have changed in their life. That also concerns you. So a positive to you can equal a negative because, yes, it is showing some significant change that's happened in their life. You're afraid of what you may discover, right? You also, you're like, who that person was yesterday is not who they are today. This person has been stuck in a cycle also, and where they are in the heart space at the moment is almost feeling like there are some regrets in their life, but they're in the 4 of Swords energy, which means they're needing to rest, they're needing to recover. And this could have been from who they used to be before into where they are now. Now, if they were in a karmic relationship, in order for them to move forward, yes, they would have to recover. That would be the wise move so that they can come full circle and actually offer something. You in the context feel this person if you were to go into this, do you trust them? Choosing someone else on the path is not, look, how do I explain it? When we're ascending, when we're at our best, if we're this and we require change, and maybe we're turning up as the Empress, right? And they feel they can't match that vibration, they will choose an easier situation until they can actually get to where they need to be. And that isn't about a romantic connection at that point in time. That's more to do with inadequacies in circumstances, but also where maybe they feel that they are most comfortable evolving at this point in time without letting you down. This does show that something in their life has changed. But the only way you are going to know is if you put the white flag up and gauge whether that person's willing to respond. That's the only way. If you sit here like a waiting duck, you could be waiting 5 years. If you venture into it and try different things, go into your intuition. A retrograde is not a bad time to connect, especially for old flames. It's actually a positive time to connect, to check in if something has changed. If it hasn't, you dip back out again, you wait for the next. All right? Or you redirect your energy where you're wanting it. But at the moment, that's what's blocking you, is your emotions and feeling, okay, do I do something? Do I not? This is impacting my life. I want some significant change. So I feel, sit with it for a little bit, decide what's going to work best for you. The cards are actually showing there has been some changes apart. And check where you sit with it, I would say by mid-month, and then react. You can do it during the retrograde, though. It's not a bad thing. And be open-minded and decide from there what you're going to do. Dawn. Let's see what's coming up for Dawn. Anything in particular? You're most welcome, Marie. I know it's hard. What do we have, Dawn? Have you been traveling, lady? Have you been rolling with the punches or Mercury in and out? Vegan collagen. I don't know. It's very refreshing. You've had some wins, you've had some losers. Things are in a funky place with Twin. Look, they will be at the minute, especially around friends as well. I'll be real careful around friends, just for a little bit. Things are going to ease up. But this can be a time when we're really reflecting upon the past. Yeah, I would. Duck for cover, go with the flow, wait for the dust to settle, and then come up for air. You are... They're fussing over things that you think are pointless. They're in a bit of a... Yeah, they're fussing. Could be paranoia, stress, propaganda. It's very intense. They're right. They know. That's kind of the energy. Does that make sense, Dom? Just watch. It's so funny. I looked over the page, sandalwood sticks, and I was like, we need to sage. Okay, some old feelings are coming up. Well, they're in the thick of it. Okay, some old things are coming up, some old feelings, a lot of paranoia, a lot of subjects to do with home. Yeah. I have been regularly. I don't know, they've got some shit going down, Dawn. Now, in the context of you, where is it at? I don't know why I had Jailhouse Rock. They want to leave the house, but they feel like they're in lockdown. That's amusing. Yeah, they're like, look, two's company, three's a crowd. They wanna be able to catch up, but they feel they're being quite micromanaged at the moment, and they feel like they're on house lockdown. House lockdown. Don't want to be here, I want to be there. You know what's weird? It's almost like this time at the moment is making them, and I think the retrogrades probably hit them quite hard. It's actually making them think about what really matters. And it's weird. Maybe some of the values that they had before, they've totally swapped. Okay? He has ghosted me, blowing me off. It's just crappy. I think they're hiding from you. Why is this? Something's happened. Something has happened. I don't think it's got to do with you. I think it's got to do with, yes, it does, but it doesn't. Okay? The first feeling I'm getting is this person has some unresolved feelings about you, and they're coming up and they're actually a bit worried about how they're going to respond. And this is more in an intimate way. It's like they're trying to put some walls up to make them behave. The other can be, and it's something I'm picking up about the karmic, is that they're not wanting, a lot of insecurities have resurfaced inside the karmic, and it's like they're not wanting them around you. Okay, it's weird. It's almost like we've got sexual union. Okay, on another place and one another, you are one eternal soul. I did say it's like they do feel as though they want to be intimate with you, and they're like, this would shake shit up. So they're trying to put themselves in the home zone, even though they'd rather be over there with you. They're trying to keep themselves busy. You're not going to understand their behaviour right now, Dawn. You're just not. I wouldn't take it personal, but you're not going to understand their reactions. They definitely, especially linking to the past position, they thought they had buried the hatch, but it does feel as though it's opened back up for them. It's been dead in the water for a while. Well, that's your perspective. That's not what the cards are saying. The cards are saying most recently the energy that has cropped up is this person is having unresolved feelings for you. And look, even the card is showing, wanting to be intimate. The tower, wanting to go into hermit mode to hide, so to speak, from this. And where they're looking to the past, it's almost like they thought they'd wrapped it up. It's like I made my bed, I need to lie in it. So, and they have been keeping themselves extremely busy at work. Working on things, working on the house. They are feeling this feeling of separation, but they're like, what do I commit to? What do I connect to? Who am I and where am I going? That's where they're at. You just think they're happy-go-lucky hiding in their house. I would be sitting and observing. I'll pull one last card. It's not coming through that way. Like, whatever they are energetically going through, I think you are very self-focused at the moment to keep yourself balanced. But I think that's actually tipped them off their axis as well. Yeah, they're saying going back to being very centered, very independent, because it does appear to be that this is stirring the waters for them, but that's a them thing. I do think their playful nature is going to come back. I just don't think that the transits at the moment have really aided us to be playful. I really don't. And I don't think anyone has been immune from this. Be it it's crap that we're having in our families, or the shit happening at work, or it's our health. A lot of people are, experiencing it. Yeah, this person is thinking about you. A message for you. I'm thinking of you this very moment. Your love fills me with light. I love you. I will laugh if you get a telephone call. Okay, is Dawn going to get a telephone call? And they're just going to act like nothing ever happened. And so that's your challenge. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. I've been living my best life. Yeah, don't get angry. Don't get angry. No. Don't get angry. Yeah, you think they're not attracted to you. They're very attracted to you. They are very attracted to you, Dawn. Last message for Dawn. Any warning? Imagine the unwanted thoughts dissolving into light, creating room for new opportunities and possibilities in your life. Okay. I was remembering the other day how much fun it was between us. The chemistry was insane. Yeah, it's really weird, some of the flashbacks I feel that a lot of people are having. And I'm actually, again, I just keep thinking Mercury, Venus, retrograde, taking us down memory lane. Pisces is very psychic. Neptune moving into Aries now. We can have these feelings like, have we just woken up from a dream, and then go back into it again. So I think it's important for us to navigate these waters cautiously, gently, not believing that everything is ever so permanent, that change is good, and to know that we don't have to actually usher that. It's just about taking one step at a time. But yeah, it's been very, very flashbacky, definitely very flashbacky. Okay, I hope this update helped. Yes, as I mentioned, we are doing some changes in the channel, and we are to the right or left, wherever it is on your screen. More than likely on YouTube, it's on your right. We have the new network that we have. That we do have a wait list for that. For those of you that want to get on the wait list for the second round offers, they'll be opening up soon. I will give a newsletter, and keep an eye on the blogs, because our blogs on YouTube and on the website do directly offer updates to do with the transits and where things are going and how they're transiting. And hopefully, as we do get out of the thick of this, I will be able to come live more often and give you energy updates similar to this at the beginning. Take care. If you do want to share this with someone, share away, and feel free to comment or ask any questions.